Hello and evening from Memorial Stadium and Faurot Field. Not necessarily a good evening, just evening. I thought that was an appropriate greeting for you guys for this one. Gabe DeArmond on the Yuengling Brewery post-game live show after a 38-17 Texas A&M win over Missouri that frankly wasn't that close. Cody Goodwin going to join me. We've got 30 voicemails. We've got super chats. We've got questions, comments. We will get to all of it over the next, I don't know, however long this therapy session lasts. Before we do that, want to pay the bills. Our preview and post-game shows all year long, brought to you by America's oldest brewery. That is Yuengling. I hope you have a few of them, guys. It's cold. It's getting gross outside. It's not going to be fun to go anywhere tomorrow morning. So you just take some flights, some black and tans, some Oktoberfests, some traditional lager, whatever it is, pound them down, hang out here with me, get all of your frustrations out over the next 60, 90, 120 minutes, whatever it is. You can sleep in tomorrow. It's going to be crappy. It's fine if you wake up and don't feel well. Just don't go anywhere. We ask you to do it responsibly, but support the sponsors and hang out with me here for the next little while. All right, let's get right to it. We'll get to your comments in a little bit and the voicemails as well. Off the top, I want to say two things. First of all, we are off to a good start. Immediately before starting this show, I got a direct message from someone who said he had been on the site for 23 years and after reading my post-game column immediately canceled because he's tired of me. If you want to spend the next however long yelling at me, that's fine. It's not really my fault. I didn't coach. I didn't play. But this is the outlet. If you want to yell at me and tell me it is my fault, that is fine. I can accept it. Plenty of people have been mad at me. It's okay. Seth Mueller, support the sponsors. That's all I ask. Just if you want to yell at me and tell me I'm an idiot, just drink a Yuengling while you're doing it. Look, I don't want this to sound like I'm not talking down to anybody here. But the last 2 weeks were a study in why fandom is so painful and why it's also so predictable. So after the Vanderbilt game, we came on here both the night of and the next morning and said, look, it feels like a funeral right now. It feels like the season kind of ended. And then the next morning, I said, whether it takes you a few hours or a few days or 2 weeks, at some point between the end of the Vanderbilt game and the beginning of the Texas A&M game, you were going to talk yourself into, hey, we got a chance. Like there's a cycle after a loss. On Sunday, it's everybody sucks and fire them and I can't pay attention. On Monday, it's we still kind of suck. We probably shouldn't fire them, but I'm starting to pay a little bit of attention and nobody died on Saturday night. By Tuesday, it's, I really kind of started looking at the matchups and like there's a chance here. And then by Wednesday, it's full on, we're going to win this game. Missouri came into this game with the third-string true freshman quarterback against a team that hadn't lost a football game. The reality was Missouri was going to have to be nearly perfect, and Texas A&M was probably going to need to be a little bit off. Neither of those things happened. What you got was the result today, which was a little more lopsided than I think most of us would have thought. But the reality is, if you looked at this situation, it would not have been surprising that Missouri was going to lose this football game. I understand why nobody thought it coming in. I understand why, look, hope is a great thing. But the reality was Missouri finally just ran into the thing it couldn't deal with, which was a true freshman quarterback playing against a team that's just frankly better at almost every position on the field as currently constituted. I know that's tough to hear. I know it probably makes you mad. I also think it's the truth. We're going to bring Cody Goodwin into the show right now. So, Cody, I gave my kind of overarching thought there. I mean, this was not particularly surprising to me. Like, big picture, what are your immediate thoughts from that one?
I agree. Not all that surprising. Can you hear me? Can I not be heard?
Go ahead. I think it might be on my end. Go ahead.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Are we here? We can. Okay. I guess I'll just keep going. I was not surprised, I guess, that A&M won the game. I was a little surprised, I guess, about how they won the game. Like, I was surprised by how, like, thoroughly dominant they looked. I kind of thought Missouri's path to a win in this game was the defense was going to muck it up and turn it into a rock fight, and the offense would find yards and maybe give themselves a chance going into the fourth quarter. And that just didn't happen, right? Like, I mean, I think the first half, that's how the script played out, right? Because it's 7-0. The defense is holding up their end of the bargain. The offense, we'll get into that, like, just didn't look good. And then at the end of the first half, that third down, A&M sends a delayed blitz. They get to Zollers, fumbles the ball. They take it back to the 2. They score 2 plays later, and it's 14-0. And it just, I don't know that was officially the nail in the coffin, but you could just tell after that play that the game felt entirely different. And then Mizzou comes out of half, doesn't really do a whole lot. And then A&M goes down, and it's 21-0. And I mean, at that point, it was pretty much done, just given what we had seen from the offense, given, you know, like at halftime, 14-point deficit felt like more of a 4-score deficit. And then when they go up another score, it's just like, all right, like that's, you know, maybe it's time to start writing or formulating story ideas, or, you know, how are we going to fully contextualize this thing? So not surprising that A&M won. It was surprising how quickly it seemed like the game got away, because it seemed like Missouri was doing the things they needed to do to keep it close and give themselves a chance. And then immediately it was over and it was done. And this A&M team is very, very good. They're very, very capable of doing things like that. You know, and then obviously by the time they got to the fourth quarter, it was 24-7. The fake punt was another basically nail in the coffin. We wrote a quick story about that. We'll get into that and some other things that we heard from Drink and the players afterwards. But it was, the way Texas A&M won the game, I think, was surprising, because I really thought that Missouri would give themselves a chance if they played a certain type of way. And I thought they did that for 29 and a half minutes of the first half. Mm-hmm. And then after that, it just kind of spiraled pretty quick.
Yeah, the fumble was, the nail was placed in the coffin. The fake punt was it being hammered down, and the lid could not pop off. Eli Drinkwitz talked about both those. We will get into both those. Hey, little pro tip for you. If you're ever in charge of doing this show, if you have the volume on your computer all the way down, you cannot hear the other person talking. So you might want to just turn the volume on your computer up. That's, I've only done like 600. Yeah, it really is. So, all right, we're going to start off by running through. We always tell you guys we don't ask for super chats, but if you do, we'll make sure to address your comments and questions and get them on the show. So I want to run through. We've got a few of those waiting. I know you guys have been here a little bit. Clayton says maybe stats prove otherwise, but injuries or not, it feels like offensive execution and production lag well behind the offense's talent level 2 years in a row now. Do you think that's true, or am I off? Cody, I want to give you first shot at this one because I have some thoughts.
It's kind of similar to last year. And granted, I wasn't covering this Missouri team nearly as in-depth as I am now, but like just from the outsider's perspective, like when Mizzou came to Tuscaloosa last year, Brady Cook was hurt. And so we were just kind of like, all right, like if their quarterback can't go, this will probably be a little bit of a snoozer of a game. And so does it feel differently now that I'm covering this Missouri team a little bit more in depth? Yes, I think there was a little bit of a mirage that we all, me included, maybe bought into a little bit watching the second half of that Vanderbilt game and watching what Matt Zollers was doing against a Vanderbilt defense. And I think that's where, like you were talking about the idea of hope at the beginning of the show. And I think a lot of us maybe clung to that as if to say like, okay, this kid can move the ball. He's got some stuff. And we'll parse through it probably more on the rewatch than we will the next couple of days. There were some things, and it was things that maybe give you hope that he can develop into something over the rest of the season. But just like there were times against Vanderbilt where the offense, they were hitting some easy buttons and Zollers was executing what they needed him to do. And I warned you guys about this in the week. I'm not here to tap myself on the back, but just like Vanderbilt's defense is not A&M's defense. The offense was going to naturally look a little bit different because they were going to pull different pages of the playbook. And A&M's defense has some grown men. And just I don't know. Like it looked really hard tonight. And so I guess like by and large, is the offense holding this team back? I think they were the reason tonight. Yes. And so
they've been the reason the last month.
Yeah.
So specific to what Clayton was saying, here's my thoughts. Look, and I understand this, but it's especially true of people who follow recruiting. Mm-hmm. Like, you get invested in these kids, whether it's out of the transfer portal or when they're sophomores or juniors in high school. We all overrate the talent on our own team, right? And Missouri is recruiting at a level that it has never recruited at. And Eli Drinkwitz has elevated the talent level in this program without question. It is still a middle-class roster in the SEC. That's just fact. Like, if you go through the talent on this roster, I'm going to guess it falls somewhere between 6th and 9th in the SEC. And that does not mean you can't beat teams with more talent, because Vanderbilt probably would be about 12th. And Vanderbilt beat you and beat some other people. So I'm not saying that means you can't win. I'm just saying the argument to me that we clearly have the talent to win all these games. Yes, Clayton, I do think you're overestimating it a little bit. And I'm going to give you specific examples without trying to crap on any individual kids. I don't see very many Missouri wide receivers running open more than 5 yards down the field. I think Kevin Coleman is a very good SEC wide receiver. I think he is a east-west, near the line of scrimmage kind of gadget guy because of his size. I think Donovan Olubade does an amazing job making contested catches. He has made some of the toughest catches I've seen this year. I have not very often seen him just 3 or 4 yards away from a defensive back. Other than that, yes, I think Missouri fans overrate the talent in the receiving corps. And I include tight end with that because even when he's been on the field, I don't know that Brett Northleaf is an NFL tight end. And as Cody put on the message board today, the best ability is availability, and he's too often not available. Offensive line, this is at best a mediocre SEC offensive line, at best. And that's probably being too nice. I think Caden Green is an NFL player. I think I'm really trying hard not to do the thing where I say that, like, we saw this coming, but we told you guys in August. We told you guys in July. If you see Caden Green at left tackle midway through fall camp, that's a bad sign. That means they don't have enough on offensive line. That's what happened. I think Caden Green is a good player. I think he is learning a new position at the toughest league, in the toughest league in the country, lined up from the best players on any defense in America, not just today, but week to week. I think your center is coming off a knee injury and having a tough time being all the way back. I think your right tackle has been your best offensive lineman, but like, he's a 7th-year college player. Guys who are in college for 7 years are in college for 7 years because they're not NFL players. I think your left guard is a kid that was thrown in to fix the fact you didn't have a left tackle and you moved Caden Green. And I think your right guard is a kid who played some at Michigan. Like, it is a mediocre offense. So yes, I do think fans overrate the talent. That is not to say that the coaching deserves no blame and the scheme deserves no blame. They do. But so often, like, Cody, you talk all the time about the easy button. The easy button in sports is this: find me the one thing that's wrong. If you can find me that one thing, that's easy to fix. All I got to do is fix one thing. It's not one thing, man. The offensive line's not good enough. The receivers aren't good enough. The quarterback's been hurt. You can't run the ball every play when the other team knows you're running the ball. And yes, the play calling and coaching leave something to be desired. Other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play?
I mean, it makes me wonder, like, how do people ultimately view the talent level? Because this Missouri team was always going to be judged by how they were going to play in SEC play, right? It was going to start with the South Carolina game. It was going to go forward with the month of October, which we knew whether they went 5-0 or 4-1 in September, October was going to be the month that was going to set the tone for the rest of the season. Mizzou went 1-2. And so it just, I guess, you know, maybe I'll admit to this. Maybe I bought into a little bit of the hype from how they performed in September against lesser competition, and I thought that they would fare a little bit better. maybe I bought into a little bit more about how well they played Alabama and thought that, okay, like that's a really good Alabama team. Mizzou was right there. Maybe they can learn from this and grow from this. But the reality is they really haven't. They really didn't. And then, so now you've got 2 weeks to prepare with a new quarterback, and just it looked worse. And there's a number of different reasons for that, but like there's no reason the offense should get 2 weeks worth of prep and come out and look the way they did. Like it looked hard. Everything looked difficult. And that's just, I mean, we say the game was over at halftime because we had no confidence that the offense could move the ball.
Right. And I know what happened to me at 5-0. Like you guys get mad all the time. Why aren't you more of a fan? You know, the problem was I started to let what I wanted become my prediction. I picked this team 8-4 before the season. It looked like an 8-4 football team to me. And they started 5-0. And even though I knew those teams were good, like, guys, I want to cover a playoff. It'd be awesome. I want this team to, it's for different reasons, but I'd love this team to get there. And so I let myself believe a little bit that this was a 10-2 football team. And then the Auburn game was the one that told me, no, it's not there, man. It's not that level of a football team. And part of it's injury, but it's a million other things. And that's what happened. From my perspective anyway. Scott Fitz says over the last 2 years, the pieces changed. The lack of creativity doesn't. Did we spend 2 weeks practicing the same 8 plays? So like, again, let's just get into the game plan versus the execution stuff, Cody, because I do not think the game plan was blameless. Like you have to figure out a way, right? Like you said, Kirby Moore and Eli Drinkwitz knew the pieces they had coming into this game. Your job is to maximize those pieces' ability to perform. So they didn't do a good enough job of that. But when Scott says lack of creativity, I mean, like, they ran a reverse and it didn't work. They ran some screens and they didn't work. And I keep coming back to, at this level of college football, you cannot line up and just hand the ball off play after play when it's the other team knows what you are doing. Like Missouri was in 3rd and 8 the entire first half because they ran and got 2 yards. And then they're in 2nd and 8. If you want to argue they should have run and got 2 more yards, fine. But this offense wasn't getting 3rd and 6 any better than it was getting 3rd and 8. And for anybody who says, but look how well we ran in the second half, Texas A&M knew that game was over as well as me and Cody knew that game was over in the second half. Like, I'm not going to say they didn't care, but they kind of didn't really care. So I do think, are there things Kirby Moore and Eli Drinkwitz should have done better? 100%. And Cody, I'll let you kind of handle what Drink said about the fumble that really ended the game and how he fell on the sword for that one. But also, like, some of it is execution.
I mean, there was a lot of it that is execution, and that is something that you and I lean on, but I'm not sure that they did Zollers a lot of favors here. And part of that, I think, is because of the lack of execution. And also part of it is, I think, I'm just not sure that they helped him with some play call stuff. And a lot of times those things go hand in hand, right? Like, because if you want him to be able to hit some play action passes, you need to establish at least something in the run game, right? Or maybe take a couple of deep shots. And if you're able to hit on one of them, maybe that shakes the defense loose and that opens up some running lanes for Roberts and Hardy. One of the things that really stuck out to me was A&M's defense is excellent on 3rd downs, right? Like, I think, like, coming into this game, like their last few SEC games, like I think they had only allowed like 3 conversions in their last 30 3rd downs, like as a defense or something insane like that. Like they're very, very good. Where I think Missouri really struggled was a lot of their 2nd down plays that left them in 3rd and we'll call it 3rd and tough, right? I mean, this in the first half, 2nd and 7, they tried the Coleman jet sweep and gained a yard. 2nd and 9, Zollers threw incomplete to Jude James. He was throwing fireballs all night, right? Like when Drink said earlier in the press conference that he did not really get to ease into the game effectively, like he got off to a slow start. That's where play calling is more like, okay, like you needed to give him some gimme throws, some easy throws. Like how often during games when Bo was quarterback did we see a play action rollout or just, hey, get that dude on the move so that the tight end is open 5 yards down the field, just so he can see an easy throw and complete an easy throw, right? Like you just got done. You guys have been covering basketball for the last week too. How often do you see a sharpshooter miss 4, 5, 6, 7 shots and then they make a free throw and things just click? Like sometimes you just need to see the ball go through the net. Sometimes you just need an easy pass for these guys to get things moving offensively or to build a little bit of confidence. And I'm just not sure that they did that with Matt at times tonight, right? So continue with some of these second down plays. 2nd and 8, that was the throw to Olubide for 34 yards, which was a really nice throw and arguably an even better catch. So, okay, hey, there's the deep ball a little bit. Can they move it? They didn't really get anything out of that. 2nd and 19, Zollers gets sacked. 2nd and 4, Roberts runs for 5, first down, cool. 2nd and 13, Zollers incomplete. 2nd and 5, Roberts he gets stopped for a yard, and then the next 2 second downs are throwaways. So they set up other third downs. Like there was no rhythm. There was no easing his way into the game. Like I remember the Vanderbilt game when Zollers had to come out, the offense, like they eased their way down the field and got into field goal range, and they were able to move the ball and they set up easy throws. And I had a thought midway through the second quarter, like, they're trying to run the Zollers offense. Maybe go back to the Bo Perbula offense, because we saw him execute that and he did that fairly well. And so combination of play calling, combination of lack of execution, they probably go hand in hand on a night like tonight where just nothing went right. Nothing looked easy. Everything looked and felt hard. And there was just absolutely no confidence that they could move the ball.
Right. And I want to point out where we're talking about execution being at fault specific. And I can't remember the exact drive, but it was in the first half. And there was a drive where Missouri had 1st and 10 in A&M territory. And like at this point, Cody and I are going, man, A&M keeps running this tight end just over the middle, 6 yards. He's wide open. What's going on? Well, first down, Zollers, I don't know who he was looking at, but he had Jamal Roberts as a check down. Like Jamal Roberts was available. And Matt ended up throwing the ball away. He was under pressure, threw the ball away. If you take the check down there, you're in, 2nd and 6 instead of 2nd and 10. Well, the second down play, Jude James runs that exact pattern we're talking about. Like it's been open all night. Exact pattern, finds the hole in the zone. He is sitting there, not moving for a 6-yard gain. Zollers threw it elsewhere. Look, it's a tough game. It's a fast game. I'm not blaming the kid. But when the entire argument is play calling, we run stupid plays, like if he just makes the easy throw there, they've got a first down. And then you start over. And so it's not always as simple as we call stupid plays.
There were a number of easy plays like that you and I pointed out in real time. And that's part of the execution. So like some of the plays were called, but then like I also remember the Alabama game that rewatch, like play by play where Bo missed a lot of easy button throws, a lot of gimme throws. I'll be curious to see, probably more so in the first half and then maybe the first half of the third quarter when I go back to rewatch it, how many of those Matt may have missed. But clearly, if we were able to see a number of them live, I imagine that there's probably at least a few more. But then the other thing too is like after a while, A&M was able to start keying on some things, and as a defense, they're able to they were able to get in Zoller's face a little bit, and they were able to take away certain things and did certain motions give away certain plays. And there were a lot of times in the first half where I think after that 40-yard run by Hardy, like they really weren't gaining a lot of yardage on the ground until Roberts, I think, had that one nice drive in late in the second quarter. Like they were not able to run the ball. And I don't know if that was as much that could have been A&M selling out to stop the run, to be like, all right, like see if you can beat us over the top, kid. So like it was, it just didn't seem like the play calling helped out Matt as much as maybe it did when we watched them against Vanderbilt. And so that was a little frustrating because you had 2 weeks to prepare.
That's where we have to be clear to say none of this is saying the game plan was perfect and the coaches had no hand in this. None of it. It's just not all ever one thing. A good time says is if Eli is an offensive mind, then why has our D had to carry us for 3 straight seasons to always be let down by elementary offense? What would these teams have been if Baker and Batoon were bust? So look, I think that is actually the most valid criticism of this coaching staff. And what it is there has not been a game changer at quarterback. And I want to be clear. It is not time to decide Matt Zollers can't do that. Matt Zollers may end up being an All-American quarter. Like this is one game, his first start against the number 3 team in the country. And what did we talk about after Vanderbilt? Sometimes you get thrown in there in the rush of adrenaline and the other team has no idea what you're going to do. And it looks pretty good. And you get that beginner's luck bounce, right? And it happened. We talked about it happening to Drew Lock in 2015, like 225, 2 touchdowns, looks good against South Carolina. Can't do anything right the rest of the year. Like it was possible to see this coming when not only did Mike Elko and Texas A&M have 2 weeks to prepare, but Matt Zollers had 2 weeks to sit there and think about, hey, I'm going to be the starter in an SEC football game. Like, he didn't look nervous to me, but that mindset and knowing you're the guy is a little bit different than just being thrown out there and like, hey, kid, no pressure. If you screw up, we fully expect it to happen. Like, when Matt Zollers came in the Vanderbilt game, not one person had any expectation that he was going to be able to win that game. And he came damn close. Here, when the game starts, like, you kind of have that expectation.
Yeah.
If you're him.
Yeah. And I agree with you. Like, he did not look nervous out there. You could tell maybe I maybe a little jittery because he was throwing fastballs all night. Like, there were a couple of throws where it's like, man, if you put a little bit of touch on that and you put a little air under that, like, maybe you give your guys a shot. There was one deep pass down the left side to Alubade that it looked like Alubade may have slowed up on his route a little bit, and it was hard to tell because we didn't always get the replays. So, like, that would have been a good end zone shot of, like, how far out of bounds was the ball? Did Alubade have a shot if he'd have kept running? But, like, he slapped his helmet afterwards. So I was like, okay, maybe that was Alubade's fault. And so, like, he wasn't nervous, but you could tell he was a little jittery. And then after a while, A&M was really starting to get in his face, and it just, he never was really able to find a rhythm or get settled, so to speak. And that was, that was a little I think that played into why the offense, like, didn't really inspire a ton of confidence tonight.
No question. I'm going to throw this one up real quick because we're not going to spend any time on it. Playing against the refs killed anything we had. Guys, Missouri got blown out. I can't do that. Definitely not a talent issue. Look at Indiana. This is 100% drink Kirby Moore. Cody and I watched the last drive of that Indiana game. First of all, if Missouri has Fernando Mendoza at quarterback, Missouri's in the playoff. Missouri's 8-1 today. I don't know if they win today, but they beat Vandy and they beat Bama if they have Fernando Mendoza. Second of all, Indiana had two guys make catches that might be the two best catches in the entire country all year long to beat Penn State. I'm not talking about recruiting stars talent. I'm talking about what do I see on the football field. Missouri could use those two wide receivers, and I don't even know their names.
Well, don't get me wrong. Stars matter, right? Like, that's absolutely, like, recruiting has always been the lifeblood of college football. And so, does Missouri need better players? You could make that case. At certain positions, yes. I think that obviously would have helped in a situation like this. I don't know. Definitely not a talent issue. Look at Indiana. Like, I don't know. Like, there were a lot of problems tonight, and there's a lot of people who were at blame. Comparing those two, it's not computing in my head. I don't think that's fair.
Caden, Jimbo Slice says, Caden saying they knew what we were doing on offense is alarming. Agree. If you did not see it, Caden Green said after the game, he was just, I don't even know the question he was answering. He said, they're a good defense. There was times they were up at the line calling out plays. So I wanted to make sure I did not take a quote out of context and followed up and said, are you saying that their defensive players were at the line of scrimmage and knew what plays you were going to run? And he said, yes, sometimes. Yes, that's a problem. That is a 1,000% coaching problem, no question. If they know because, like, what did Drake talk about on Tuesday with Mike Elko? What he does so well, he does the same thing out of a formation over and over and over, and you think you know what he's doing, and then all of a sudden he does something completely different out of it, and he gets you. That's the alarming thing. That's the thing that leads you to go, okay, the coaching also is an issue here.
Yeah, no, he was talking about how, like, Elko breaks tendencies a lot, and, like, he'll show you multiple things, and he'll put a lot of different things on film, and, then he'll send a fun blitz that he just hasn't called all year that he saved out of specific formations because he knows that that's not something you're going to be anticipating, right? Like, that's something that he talked about quite a bit this week, especially on Tuesday when he met with us. I wanted to add to that because on my way back up from the press conference, I was in the elevator with a lot of Texas A&M media, and I just asked them because I was like, hey, did Elko say anything about the fake punt? Would you like to hear what Mike Elko said about the fake punt?
I just read it, and I would, yes.
I'll read it aloud for everybody else here. The momentum seemed like it had kind of gotten away. This is Mike Elko on the decision for the fake punt in the third quarter. They had put the drive together. They went out and stopped us. It was 21-7, and we just, we've gotten some exotic punt block looks against us, and some people have been overloading things, and they're not sound against the fake. They were trying to do it as well, so we feel like we had an opportunity. The right time presented itself, and we took it. That's pretty damning. Especially against a special teams unit that has struggled. Like, I don't think we know exactly how many. I think we were trying to, in real time, figure out how many fake punts opposing teams have executed against Mizzou in recent years. I think we came to the conclusion that it's at least three, possibly four. Maybe the comments will be able to help us out with that. But, like, that's pretty damning on the coaching staff that he was able to recognize something pretty immediately and say, all right, let's go.
And let's just address the Eric Link stuff, because I even tweeted, look, I've told you guys over and over, we have to cover these guys every day. I'm not going to get on here and tell you somebody should be fired. That's not my decision. That's Eli Drinkwitz's decision. But I don't have to be a football genius to look and see Missouri special teams have been below average to flat out bad for years. And tonight, the fake punt. Now, look, Eli Drinkwitz did what the guy who makes $9 million does. He said, I okayed it. That's on me. That's my fault. 100%. He's the head coach. Everything's his fault. Also, the guy that's in charge of the special teams. First of all, great coaching by Mike Elko. I wasn't even watching because it didn't occur to me they would fake that. So excellent job by Mike Elko, obviously. But also, it's not my job to think about the fact that they might fake that. It is his job. I thought maybe the more damning thing on special teams tonight was at 38-17, A&M did a little kind of bloop kickoff, and Missouri just never got to it. And A&M covered the ball at the Missouri 20-yard line and could have scored again if they wanted to. The fake punt, the other problem with the fake punt is this. When's the last time Missouri returned a punt of any consequence? What are you doing max return for? Where's your return game?
Yeah, right. At that point, it's you're getting the ball back. Yeah, you're getting the ball back. It sounds really dumb, but trot your base defense out there, just call a fair catch or something. You're getting the ball back, and you need to get the ball back. So it's I don't know. That one. I mean, I said it in real time. That was a hell of a call from Elko and A&M, and really, really good execution. Right, it went for 50 yards basically. But then also that's pretty damning that's the reason they decided to call it in real time. And I understand Drinkwitz falling on the sword, but man, the special teams miscues continue to pile up, and it's just dude.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's a problem because, I said coming into this game, the best possibility for your special teams, and I said it last week too, is just it's even. If we don't talk about special teams, that's a huge win for Missouri. Because every time we talk about special teams, it's not good for Missouri. Right down to the fact that, I don't know, kudos to Oliver Robbins for making a 49-yard field goal. But, this team has operated all year, knowing it can't kick, basically. Makes it really, really difficult, man.
Well, and the one thing that I kind of thought, and they had a couple opportunities tonight, was you crossed the 50, and now it's 4th and manageable, I suppose. Why not go for it? Stay aggressive. Get the team, get the crowd something that's excited to go do it, especially when you can't really trust your kicking. I kind of thought that maybe we would see a little bit more of that tonight, and we really didn't. And that was, I think, disappointing. And if you want to, continue to bash play calling, I thought that there were a few different moments. I need to go back and look at the play-by-play that Mizzou should have probably gone for it on 4th down and decided not to. They were, and that was a little. Call it missed opportunities. I thought they had chances there that they could have done some stuff.
There was one. And look, I said it to you in real time and you agreed. And so this isn't revisionist history. And I want to be clear. This didn't lose the game. I completely understand why Eli Drinkwitz didn't go for it. But coming out in the third quarter, Missouri's in 3rd and 11. They hand it off to Jamal Roberts. It's clearly just let's get some yards and punt. Well, on 3rd and 11, he got 10. And they're in 4th and 1. And they're at their own 20-yard line. And I said, I would go for this. Because, there's only so many times you can ask your defense to take a punch. And they had asked them over and over and over for the last month. And at that point, you need 1 yard. And if you don't get it, A&M's getting the ball on the 20, and they're going to score, and you're going to lose. Well, guess what happened? 3 plays later, A&M scored a 52-yard touchdown, and he lost anyway. Again, I am not saying that lost the game, but that was one of those points where I would have liked to just see the coaching equivalent of F it, man. Like, why not?
Yeah, go down swinging. Like, if you're going to go down, like, strike out pretty much, right? Like, in the first quarter, they had 4th and 6 at, like, on the A&M side of midfield. Like, it's early in the game, but, like, that would have been nice to see them maybe set a precedent to, hey, like, we're going to be aggressive. We're going to see what we can do here. And who knows what kind, that was way early in the game when you're already leaning on your defense and they had already gotten a couple stops. So, like, why not, right? And I'm looking through the play-by-play now to see what the rest of them are. They had 4th and 19 after the 3rd and 24. You're still at midfield. Maybe punt that one away. 4th and 5 on the 27. They did go for it. I'll give them that, but it went incomplete. So it's
right.
I don't know.
The play call was there, and the receiver was open, and that was just a bad throw by Matt.
Yeah. So that that was on the slant to Olubade, and I'm not sure if they would have had enough.
Olubade, he was looking at the replay. I think he gets it. I don't think it's by a lot, but I think he gets it. And like Olubade has made tougher catches than that, but it wasn't a good throw.
Yeah, that was a little off from Matt. So I wish YouTube TV was working because I usually have the game on a slight delay on the computer so I can go look at these things. So like my memory's a little off tonight and I hate it.
Yeah. All right, let's go to some of these voicemails because I have a feeling they will be. I have a feeling I know what they're about.
They're going to be reasonable and level-headed. It's going to be great.
I think they want to fire Kirby more and probably Eric Link, but let's see.
Hey, Gabe. Calling in again. Saw a bunch of guys with their shirts off, waving their shirts. Didn't see you in the crowd and want to know where you were at. Bye.
I was in the press box fully dressed, but appreciate it.
Hey, Gabe. I just slashed Kirby's tires. Hopefully that sends him a message to get the fuck out of Columbia. And I just ate some ass. Have a good night. MIZ.
We're going to we have nowhere to go but up. We've started at the bottom. So
before you run the next one, like it's like we can criticize Kirby more tonight. I'm not sure I'm on the level of like trying to call for his job because of like he was dealt a pretty tough hand with the true freshman quarterback. And I understand had 2 weeks to prepare. It needed to look better than it did, but relax on the firing, right?
I admire your naivete. I've covered this long enough to know when you lose a game, someone needs to get fired. This is how it works. Every team in the country, someone has to be held accountable. And look, I will say this, and I've said this on the message board. I expect Kirby Moore to be here next year unless he gets a head coaching job. That's my belief, and it's not like I'm not just making it up out of my own head. That is based on things that I believe to be true based on what I've heard. So do with that what you want.
Palmer's voice ever again in my life. That'd be fucking perfect. I think if I never...
Whose voice does he never want to hear?
Jesse Palmer, who I believe was on the call tonight on ABC.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he was. It was him and Tessitore. Okay. Good enough.
Hey, Gabe. This chick's ass would just ate could call a better place.
All right, we're done with that.
Eli Drinkwitz needs to leave immediately, and TMA should live forever.
Okay, so let's just have the drink conversation. Because last week, like we talked about it, but I said, hey, mathematically, they can still make the playoff. This isn't going to become the sole focus until they can. Well, they can't now. And even Drink alluded to it after the game. Like everybody knows, they're cooked. So this is going to be the sole focus. And I have a feeling Missouri fans have 2 responses to it tonight. Number 1 is what that guy just said. Get out. We don't want you. And number 2 was why would anybody else want you? Look, I understand frustration. He has not reached that level you want to get to yet. You know what would be way worse than giving him a shot to do it again? Just throw a damn dart and figure out if maybe the next guy can be better. He also might be way worse. Like, if your reaction is please Penn State or Auburn or whoever hire Eli Drinkwitz, like it's just not rational. Like you're not thinking logically.
Yeah, I don't know. I understand the whole. I've got thoughts going every which direction now. I understand that like why people are upset and why they're frustrated, and there was a lot coming into this season, and like I bid on it a little bit. I bid on it all the way through the Alabama game and the Auburn game, even though I think that's when you kind of thought that maybe this isn't quite a playoff team. I think it was really the Vanderbilt game. Even if they found a way to win that one, that was the game for me. That was kind of like, they're in that mix of teams, but they're in kind of the lower part of that mix of teams that might be fighting for that 10, 11, 12 spot. But I don't know. Like there's a part of me that's like, you kind of have to wait. And this is probably why I'm always so hesitant. Like, let's get to the end of the season. Let's see what the full picture looks like before we like really make judgments on these people's jobs. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like at least this particular staff deserves to go the full season before we really are like, okay,
And again, just like it's the third string quarterback. And here's the other thing. And everybody, Cody did it. I've said I did it. We all got fooled early in the season. But what's the favorite thing to do? The national media hates us. The guys that vote in polls don't even pay attention. They were all right, guys. They were all right about this team. Like,
I mean, here's the other thing too.
They didn't put this team in the top 25 preseason. They told you at 5-0 this team hadn't beaten anybody. They were a lot more right about them than I was.
Here's the other thing too. Like we said after the first 5 games that we weren't exactly sure how good this team was, and I had made the point that like, hey, they're pretty definitively not a bad team. I don't think they're a bad team even after tonight. They played a bad game tonight, but they also played a great team. Like they played one of the best teams in America tonight. They also played one of the best teams in America in October against Alabama, and they were maybe a few plays away from winning that game. You know what I mean? And so it's like this was a good team. They clearly don't make the necessary plays on a consistent basis to be a great team. And so that's just kind of where this Missouri team is at. It's like they're good. They can't really eclipse the great teams, and they will even occasionally slip up against other good teams, i.e. Vanderbilt. So
I should have had the balls to stick to my preseason. This looks like an 8-4 team, because frankly, at this point, 8-4 looks a little optimistic to me.
The offense that showed up tonight may not be good enough to beat Mississippi State next week. Like that's, and so like, does that like that's weird where we're at.
And definitely can't score with Taylor Green.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Like
unless you hand it to Hardy,
I would
Roberts
say 7-5. Yeah, if I had to pick today, I would say 7-5. But again, that's like this team is not the team that started the season. So my point is, I don't know if it was ever really fair to start judging this team on the scale, or the season on the scale of if they didn't make the playoff, it's not good enough. Like I think we all got tricked a little bit. We didn't, like, Kansas sucks. I don't think we quite understood how bad South Carolina was going to be. And even Auburn, man, like Diego Pavia put up 450 and 45 points against that Auburn defense. Like, this Missouri team's just not at that level, man. It's a tier 3 SEC team right now, because you got playoff tier, then you got the tier that includes like Vandy and, in my opinion, Oklahoma, maybe Tennessee, and then Missouri's they're a step below that right now.
I mean, you want a sobering fact, and it's only because I just looked this up to see what the Kansas score was. Mizzou hasn't beaten a team that currently has a winning record right now this season.
Kansas get beat?
Yeah, they're 5-5.
Yeah.
Missouri does not have a win over a team that currently has a winning record.
Yeah, and so that's where they're at. They're better than they're a decent team. They're, that's it.
It looks like the Missouri State Bears are filing a petition to play in a bowl game this year. Who you got, Mizzou versus Missouri State?
Boy, I could not care. There's nothing in the world I could care less about than Missouri State football. I'll just say that.
I'd take the Tigers in that matchup. Let's keep rolling.
Hey Hey, Gabe, first time caller in. Yes, Lady Mizzou watcher. I know that's a little rare. I'm a little worried about our offensive coordinator ruining our freshman quarterback with bad habits. I don't know. That's it. I kind of wish we won today, but appreciate all that you do, and MIZ.
Okay, so like it is not time to bury Matt Zollers, right? But what you do worry about, wait, I talked about this after the Vandy game. Drew Lock, when he got thrown in as a true freshman, later in his career, when he went on to set SEC records and school records and stuff, later in his career, talked about how that freshman season nearly broke him. Like he no longer really thought he was good at football. It was the first time in his life he struggled and he got beat up and he didn't know what was happening and he didn't know how to fix it. So the main goal over the next 4 games is that you cannot, like Matt seems like a very confident kid from everything we know. You just did a big story on him this week. Like, but man, getting out there in front of those bullets against some of these teams is a tough thing. Goal number 1 the rest of this season is do not let something break Matt Zollers. Like that can't happen.
I agree. And it's I think a lot of the remainder of the season, right? Like officially Atlanta's off the table. Like they can no longer get there with the third loss. The playoffs gone. Like contention is not there. They don't have the wins. They don't have the opportunity now to get enough wins to even have a seat at that table. The goal for the next 3 games and potentially a 4th with a bowl game, development, growth, and like building up Matt Zollers, right? Because he took some pretty gnarly shots tonight. I don't know that Kirby Moore really helped him a whole lot out with the play calling. So the next 3 weeks are more about building him up and helping him develop. And a lot of the other younger guys that will continue to play, continue to get snaps, continue to grow, continue to develop. Like you are building now for next year. And so that's, I think, what's the importance of the next 3 games plus, whatever potential bowl game they end up going to.
And let us be clear, building for next year does not mean if you're a senior, you don't get to play anymore.
Right.
That's not how this works. But yeah, Matt Zollers needs to go into this offseason with something that he can point to that says, that went well. I feel good about that. That gives me confidence that I can do this thing. Because I'm pretty confident Matt Zollers is Missouri's starting quarterback next year.
I feel pretty good about that. And I think we've again, I'm going to have to dig through the muck on the rewatch to make sure that I can point out a couple of small things here and there. But like there were some moments, fewer moments than the Vanderbilt game, but there were some moments where it's like, okay, like I can see a glimpse. I can see a little glimmer of, I understand why they view him as the future. He's got a lot of work in front of him. So does Kirby. So does Drink. So does everybody in that on the offensive staff and in that offensive room to make sure that he continues to develop and get better and grow confidence. But there's something there. And I agree it's on Drink and Kirby and the staff to not ruin that over the next 3 or 4 games.
We haven't talked about it at all, but like, what's your thought on the defense?
They're elite. Elite might be a shot from the hip, but like they are a very, very good, routinely great defense with a lot of elite moments. Like this, I think you've called them a championship defense. I more often than not, they look that way. And so it's kind of a bummer, not to squander what you said you might be writing, but like it's a bummer that the offense is holding that defense back because that is a special defense.
Even today, on a day they ended up giving up 38 points and 480 yards or something, like I don't care what the number said. They stood there and took shot after shot after shot and gave this team a chance to win the game. Like even at 24-10 and A&M inside the 20-yard line, they get a turnover that gives you the offense just wouldn't help them and the special teams just wouldn't help them. Like this defense is like Corey Batoon has done a fantastic job. Zion Young is trending to be a first rounder. Way too many stupid penalties, but a good player. Damon Wilson, elite player. Dara Smith is in the top 10 in the country in pressure rate for defensive linemen. Like the secondary, which kind of we thought maybe was the weakness, has really not been the weakness. I mean, Missouri didn't get beat by like dudes running wide open downfield. They got beat by a couple of missed tackles, and even Drinkwitz said it. He said the defense just wore out, man. There was just nothing left in the tank because they have spent the last month trying to drag this offense into contention for something that this offense simply is not capable of.
Yeah, A&M had the ball for 35 minutes and ran 68 plays. Like that's a lot of time to be on the field against a team that has a lot of speedy receivers and a lot of speedy playmakers. And, after a while, like the running back, Reuben Owens, had a couple of really long touchdown runs because the defense was just gassed at that point, and
because also at that point, you are selling out to make a game-changing play. Like, at that point, we have to have a turnover. Well, sometimes when you do that, if you miss the one turnover, they're gone.
Yeah. And so that's
it's what happened on the Santana Banner mistake, like the Casey Concepcion touchdown that made it 21-0. It is 3rd and 6, and Corey Batoon did what a lot of us have asked him to. He brought everybody, man. He brought 7 guys, and it was 0 blitz, man on 4 receivers. Texas A&M blocked the receiver screen well. Santana Banner couldn't quite make the arm tackle, and there was just like he could have run for 8,000 yards at that point.
Yeah, it wasn't so much the down the field. Like there's a lot of people that are like the secondary has cost us a bunch of big plays, and while that might be true that might be true against some of the better quarterbacks that they have played this season. Like I know Daniels hit on a couple of deep passes. Lenore Sellers obviously had a ton. Ty Simpson had a couple of throws that you just can't defend.
Ty Simpson had like 2.
Yeah. I mean they were 2 very important ones, but yes. But like tonight it was just Texas A&M knows how to use their playmakers and get those dudes in space and let them run. And there were times when they would get those dudes in space and Missouri had the defense to counter it. And then there was the tunnel screen where it's just sometimes it's just one-on-one and Concepcion outran Banner and Banner got a handful of jersey and that wasn't enough. And sometimes that's just what happens.
Right. And again, like Diego Pavia put up 450 and 45 on Auburn. He put up like 149 and 17 on Missouri. This is an elite level defense.
Gabe, we need to let Coach Link go from special teams. Missed field goal, another one. Another kickoff out of bounds. The fake punt for a huge play. And a muff kickoff. They're never prepared. They're never organized. They're late getting on the field. I don't know why he's still around.
Fair points, man. It was bad.
The field goal thing is really weird to me because like Robbins came out and they tried that 50-yarder and the 50-yarder was well short. But then he came out and kicked that 49-yarder and it looked like it would have been good from 56. I was so confused.
A little messed up on the 50-yarder. I don't know exactly what happened, but the timing looked messed up from the start.
Yeah, like it didn't look like it was good coming off the foot. But then like when he drilled that 49-yarder, I'm like, dude, like that was you had plenty of space.
Yeah. But either way, I mean, the kick out of bounds was maybe the worst of all of them. I forgot that happened.
Gabe, that was really tough. I brought my wife to the game, who I usually send to bed, and I brought 2 bottles of the L word, and I couldn't use any of them because there was not a single point in that game that I thought I could get to the finish line. All right, we'll talk to you next week.
Good enough. No comments.
Never mind. It's just the whole coot and caboodle at this point. It's not just kid and caboodle. It's not just Kirby. It's the whole thing. GG's season. Hopefully the future is bright. I don't know. We might see some major leavers.
I kind of felt like our voicemail line got butt dialed there. Like that was just a conversation he was having with someone and we just happened to catch a part of it. I don't really know where that started.
It was a little hard to follow
hey,
that
Gabe,
train of thought.
Hey, man, all I need to say is Eric Link, man. How is he still coaching for us? I mean, serious.
Yeah, I don't mean to cut it off, but like points been made. If these are repetitive, we're just going to move through them.
Gabe, it's Schiff. I am going to join the hordes of people in going after Missouri special teams.
Okay, yeah, again, it's all the same.
Gabe, this is Garrett joining you from the Columns Club. We got about 29 seconds on the clock, and we're down 21 points. We didn't give the ball to Hardy enough. We didn't get it to Coleman hardly at all, and we keep throwing it to rocks for hands Josh Manning. I'm sick of it. I hope Kirby Moore gets a head coach job at a Division III school so I don't have to watch the dink and the dunk all season again next year.
Fair enough.
All right.
Hey, Gabe, don't like making these calls, but I don't think we're going to win another game this year. Zellers just isn't there. He's young, doesn't get it, and Kirby doesn't get it either. Hopefully we can do something about that situation with the offensive coordinator for next year. Anyway, out.
Yeah.
Hey guys, just 6-6 is now on the table, big time. I know he's a freshman quarterback, but not a lot of easy throws made for him today. Hardly any throws over the middle. A lot of flood concepts and deep balls, and his deep ball accuracy just isn't good enough to be doing that, I feel like. So, and then special teams is, oh boy, it's bad. It's really, really bad.
I'm searching for Tiger Terry because we need some humor in here. I know he's here somewhere.
Long-time listener, first-time caller, P from Chesterfield, $32,000 a year, 4.5 inches soft, 3 times divorced. Let me tell you, that was one of the worst performances I've ever seen. That's pathetic. I came all the way from Kansas City, Missouri, family from St. Louis, Missouri. We met halfway, and you know what that was? Embarrassing. You know what that was? Gabe, we had a chance at the playoff before we kicked the ball off, and I swear, 10 minutes into the kick, we did not. That was embarrassing. You're telling me, I know we had a true freshman, but you know what? That was embarrassing offensive performance, Gabe. I don't know where.
It was a little bit, but also, man, like, the other team was just better. Like, A&M's just better. And today they were way better. I don't think they're that much better, but they're clearly a lot better than Missouri.
Yeah, that's that. A&M's one of the best teams in the country. And so then you take them where they're playing probably a B plus game by their standards against a Missouri team that is good, probably not on the same level as that A&M team, but plenty capable of playing with them. And they play a D minus game. Like that's where you get a 21 point difference.
Yep. Second year in a row.
We all kind of expected this in our heart of hearts, and it is what it is. You know, I don't even have any words. It's like I'm upset, but it's like I don't want to say I'm used to it, but we kind of knew where this was going. Even when I heard the prediction Friday morning, I was like, yeah, it's like that. At this point, I don't really care if Drinkwitz leaves. I'm not saying he's a bad coach, but if he left, I wouldn't be mad. Let me just say that. If he stayed, cool, but if he left, I wouldn't be upset. It's all good, though. MIZ, well, maybe next year.
I feel like that's about as well as you can handle it. But like, I had a couple friends say like Missouri's going to win, and I just said like, why? Like, what's the outside of just I hope so? What's the basis for that? I just didn't see it, man.
No, I needed Mizzou to prove to me that they can win a big game like this for me to pick them in a big game like this, and you know they basically no-showed. That's
they have no-showed. Like one side of the ball showed up. But you can't win SEC football games with a half a team.
Yeah.
Like, look, Auburn's tried to do it all year and can't do
it. They almost did it tonight.
They almost did, with the other half being good. But, yeah.
Hey there, Gabe. MIZ, man. Hey, I just want to, man, Kirby Moore, what a coach. I'm going to tell you something right now. With all these head coaching positions opened up, if they don't consider Kirby Moore one of their top candidates, they are absolutely stupid. This is a special coach. I'm talking a college football playoff contending coach. Man, I know I really hate to lose him. I really, really do. But, man, they're stupid if they don't pick this guy. Okay, MIZ. Hey, Gabe, is this ended?
I'm not going to lie, man. That was excellently done. That was the best call so far, I think. Big fan.
Hey, Gabe. Patrick from Oakville. Can't imagine it's going to be a very long post-game show tonight. Really not all that much to talk about. Hey, Zoller's first game, true freshman. You're probably going to have people pissed off at Kirby Moore. That's probably not going to change. But I was just curious if you thought this game had any impact on Drink leaving. On one hand, if he wins, it's going to ratchet up the pressure at places like LSU and Florida to try to prime away. On the other hand, he loses. That should be hypothetically good to keep him. But maybe Drinkwitz starts to feel a little bit of frustration, right, from the fans. Maybe he starts to think he can't do it here, right? We've been walloped by Texas A&M, which is certainly not the cream of the crop in the SEC back-to-back years. Do you think this moves the needle at all, one way or another, to the Drinkwitz possibly leaving?
What do you think?
Well, Texas A&M is absolutely the cream of the crop of the SEC this year. I understand not last year, just because they were a little more inconsistent. What does this mean for Drinkwitz? I don't know. I'm not going to tell you guys how to fan. So if you think this is a reason for him to leave because he can't get it any better than what it is currently right now, and he just got smacked around by a coach in his second year at another SEC institution, feel free to believe it. But I guess until Drink leaves and explains why, because we know if he does leave, you and I are probably going to be tuned into the press conference of his new job because we're going to want to hear what he has to say. I don't know. It's hard because like there's such a long documented history of Mizzou not really being able to break through into that elite tier on a consistent basis. But you know, this is also the first time A&M has kind of been in that tier as well. And so, you know, not that they're comparable programs, but they might be just given their history in the SEC. And so that's something worth considering, I guess. I don't know how this game ultimately plays into Drink's thought process. That's because, again, he's the only one that's going to know what's on his heart, right?
So I think, first of all, like I'm relatively optimistic Eli Drinkwitz is going to stay here. We'll see. Things can change. That is not me reporting anything. That is me telling you how I feel as of 7:58 p.m. on Saturday. I don't think this game would change other teams' feelings about him. Like they look at this and go, yeah, man, you're on your third string quarterback. How many teams are winning with their third string quarterback? But if there was a game that Drink takes the way that caller is saying, I don't think it's tonight. I think it's Vanderbilt. I think that's the one. If he were to go, and the reasoning is I don't think it can get done here, to me, it was right there. And we couldn't win in Nashville, man. Like A&M's 9-0 and they're an elite team. Vandy's like you are. Like they're solid. They're good. They're a great story. That's not a playoff team. I don't think. You know, now maybe they prove me wrong. Maybe they'll go win 2 more and beat Tennessee, and maybe they're 10-2 and they get in. But I don't see tonight being the thing that makes Drinkwitz say I'm out. I really don't.
No, I find. I mean, if this result is the reason why he decides he wants to leave, then that would be, I guess, stunning to me.
It'd be weird.
Yeah. So
it'd be weird.
Gabe, even though this is a Mizzou football show, I will say this. The Mizzou athletic department should go all in on basketball. They can't.
No. You can't. It's the SEC. I mean, you'd be Kentucky.
Hey, the SEC is a good basketball conference as well.
I know, but like, you have to play football.
Hey, Gabe. About time Marquise Johnson got his ass sent to the bench. Speaking of ass, for my 34th birthday.
Okay, okay. I don't want to know where it was going.
Gabe. Eric Link is a domestic terrorist.
We're getting out of hand.
Hi, Gabe. I thought that was actually a pretty competitive game, except for a few plays. I know that the score doesn't reflect the actual play on the field. But then I got
Missouri
back
got
to
way
the
worse.
car and I took out that lotion. I just
This is getting bad.
Christopher here again.
Hi.
I'm not sure if my first one went through. So, again, the message is similar. I don't know if you got my first voicemail, but ultimately,
I don't know.
Look, it's okay to be upset. You lost a football game. But at the same time, like, we're expecting great things right now at the University of Missouri when it comes to football. This has never really been a thing. It's a blessing to have this opportunity to expect these wins. And I know it hurts right now. It sucks. But also, let's remember where we've come from and know that there's an opportunity for great things ahead. It sucks right now. I get it. I'm hurting too. But let's keep fighting.
We have run the gamut of emotions. I know you were too young for this, but I don't know if you ever watch old Saturday Night Lives or have seen any of them. Al Franken had a character named Stuart Smalley, and he would do self affirmations, and it was just him sitting and looking in the mirror and going, "You're good enough. You're smart enough. And doggone it, people like you." That call reminded me of Stuart Smalley in Daily Affirmation. That's all I got, man. I'm just looking for Tiger Terry. We've got like 9 of
Gabe,
them.
that was a really, really tough loss. I mean, it was a 7-0 game. Then old Zollers didn't know that he had to throw the ball away. He got that ball snatched out of his hand like I try to snatch that lotion right out.
That guy sucks. I don't like that.
In the words of the Irish, you're a fucking potato.
Gabe, this team just isn't what we thought they were. We thought they were a playoff contender starting from the first few games of the season, and Zollers was okay. He wasn't a world beater. He's a freshman quarterback. Hardy's still good. Roberts is still good. The rest of the team, they're just not good enough. They're not as good as A&M. Curious what your thoughts are, if there's anywhere for the rest of the season that we can just kind of get the train back on the tracks.
Yeah, no, I think that kind of covers it. They were not good enough. that boils it down.
Gabe, Tiger Terry, tough day to be a Tiger, Gabe. I hate losing that cult of cringe down in College Station. But give them credit. Outcoached us, outplayed us. Wish they'd give me a few of their Yale leaders. We could lead us a little Yale session against Coach Eric Link, because special teams has been piss poor and I'm about red-aced over it, Gabe. There's no excuse. We've had a guy that can make 50-yarders on the bench the last couple of weeks, and he's just been hanging out while Robbie Meyer misses every other 20-yard chip shot. Eric Link seems like a nice guy, good family man. Drink seems to really like him, clearly. But if being a family man and a nice guy winning championships, Phillip Rivers and his 20 kids would have a dozen Super Bowl rings. But they don't, okay? Had high hopes for this team. We'll remember them fondly. But high hopes sometimes lead to low lows, Gabe. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death and all that. But I continue to be frustrated with this coaching staff, Gabe, who doesn't seem to know what they got and aren't putting the kids in position to succeed. I know the players got to play, they got to execute, but it seems like we're doing the same stuff over and over, and it just ain't working, and I hate it. Give me your wisdom, Gabe. I know brighter days are ahead. Fight, Tiger.
Even Tiger Terry didn't seem to have the normal venom after this one, but I do like the cult of cringe. That's a solid. I support that name.
The cult of cringe. That's pretty. It's funny how some of the, like, because the Yell leaders are part of the Spirit Squad down there, and like A&M is so well funded and well stocked with oil money that the Yell leaders are on scholarship, and that's going to tick a lot of people off, I think, if they hadn't known that already. But I don't know, like that seemed fairly reasonable, I guess. Like, yeah, reasonable, really cool. Like all things considered. Like it seemed like after, like most of us, I think the results set in somewhere between the end of the third and the early of the fourth quarter, where it's just like, all right, like this is what it is. This team is going to have to readjust the lens through which it views success this season. And I don't know, like I wish I had the words to make y'all feel better, but like that's kind of where this team is at the moment.
Right, like the level of anger for this one is lower than Bama and Vandy, because Bama and Vandy, it went down to the last play. This one, dude, you had an hour to process this one before it actually ended. So,
yeah, this one was tough, but also I guess easy in that sense.
Right. All right, Cody, I'm going to let you go right, man. We got a few more voicemails, but I feel like they're all going to say the same thing, and not nearly as eloquently as Tiger Terry. So let you go right. And I don't know, any parting shots for the people?
I don't know. Like if tonight showed you guys anything, it's that maybe have a little bit of patience over this final month of the season and readjust expectations. I know I wrote in the walkthrough this morning to kind of temper expectations because Zollers was now at quarterback. And I think there's a lot to like about this dude. I think he still has the potential to be a very good college quarterback, potentially more than that. But It's going to take some time. There's going to be some growing pains. It's going to take some development. And that's what you want to see over the final month of the season. I don't know that wins and losses matter nearly as much as, obviously, you want to win. They still have a shot, I think, to win 10 games for the third year in a row, which is something the program has never done. If you want to root for that, cool. I am personally looking at growth and development from some of these younger guys and how well some of the older guys can position themselves draft-wise through the rest of the season. That's at least the primary lens through which I'm viewing this team. And so I invite you to temper your expectations and just kind of enjoy the ride of having a young guy at quarterback the rest of the way.
That'd be real nice. We're gonna go on. We're gonna finish on firing people while you go right.
Have fun.
All right, we'll see. That's Cody Goodwin. He'll have full coverage for you guys, and I'll have a column and some video and stuff when we get done here. But I'm gonna hang out with you for a little bit. Like I said, we got more voicemails. I promise they're all the same. But I want to get back to some of the super chats, some of your guys' questions and comments you've been posting throughout. So let me figure out where we left off here and jump in there. Scott Fitz says obsessing with the short side of the field runs becomes more noticeable every week. Yeah. The whole offense was like, I just have a hard time getting that specific with it when the offense was just bad. And good God, I'm watching Ty Simpson play quarterback on this TV screen, and it's amazing. The whole operation was bad. Like everybody, it's kind of like I said on our basketball show last night about the defense. When it's that bad, singling out one thing almost seems wrong. Like everybody involved with it deserves blame. And that's where I'm at with this offense. Truman, late to the party. Do we have a new special teams coordinator yet? Not yet. Not yet. We have not yet been told about that. Drink overplayed his hand on holding out. Will those programs want him as has he earned an extension or a raise here? Also, can we appreciate how fans have a right to be mad and not defend the staff? Like, look, I completely get why you're mad. All I have said is that there is also blame. There is blame beyond just the coaching staff. The coaching staff deserves blame. I have not ever said they deserve none. There are other things as well. That's my only point. My constant frustration after losses is that we always have to fire people and it's always the coaches. Like the players never get blamed. Like I know Matt Zoller's a freshman. I know he's young. He was bad today. It's okay to say the offensive line was bad today. The receivers weren't good either. Like, and yes, coaching is a part of that. It's just not the whole thing. And you can't fire people every week. I mean, you're going to be paying out millions of dollars if you do that. Tywin 20, how would you distribute blame among the different components of our offense? Offensive line, skill positions, quarterback, offensive coordinator. I mean, I would take the running backs out of it. They're doing pretty well and doing the best they can. I think as far as on the field, I think offensive line is probably most responsible. I think quarterback is probably next, and then the wide receivers do not escape blame. And I want to be clear about OC too. And Eli Drinkwitz said this after the game, and it is not all just falling on the sword. There is some truth to it. The head coach, if the offensive coordinator isn't doing his job, if he deserves blame, so does the head coach. Eli Drinkwitz gets to share that. Like he said, and I don't think this is covering for anybody. I believe this. Missouri ran twice and was in 3rd and 10, or through, I don't know what they did, into the first quarter, or first half. They're in 3rd and 10. Drinkwitz said, I okayed the call to go after the first down and to throw the football. And that obviously leads to the fumble that changed the whole game. Eli Drinkwitz has veto power. I can't remember who it is, but there was a quote at one point that like, everyone has a vote, but my vote counts for 51%. Eli Drinkwitz's vote counts for 51%. Everybody else in the building can say, we want to do this on this play. And if Drink says no, they're not doing it. So he has that power. In hindsight, yes, they should have just run the ball on 3rd down. I don't know if that changes anything because this offense looked non-functional. I defend coaches sometimes because if the run game isn't really working and you can't block and the passing game definitely isn't working, it's hard to find something to do. But yes, Kirby Moore deserves some blame. He is the head of an offense that has fallen apart. There is no question about that. Eli Drinkwitz deserves some blame. I don't know how to divide it up percentages. Like, we talked about they need to help Zollers out more. They didn't do some things, and we told you sometimes there were execution errors. It is both. And everybody wants it to be one thing. If we just fired Kirby Moore, everything would be great. Clearly, all we need is a guy to call the right plays because obviously we have the right guys. Do you have the right guys? I don't know. Because quarterback, I left the house today thinking Missouri might be better at quarterback this week than it was last week or 2 weeks ago. And maybe I was too hard on Bo Prabula because, they weren't. I've touted Josh Manning for 3 years. It's never happened. Our message boards loves Marquise Johnson, or at least did until about 3 weeks ago. He's made some plays here and there. Brett Norfleet has been hurt. That's not necessarily his fault, but it is a part of who he is at this point. The offensive line, again, this was the easiest one to see coming. They missed on left tackle in the portal. They hoped a JUCO guy would take a step from last year. He didn't. They took a guy late from West Virginia. He's not even in the conversation by the time fall camp started there, really, or by the time it reached the midway point. They move a left guard to left tackle, so they got worse at left guard, and they have a guy learning to play left tackle. I mean, that was the easiest one to see coming, and I think it's the most important one. Howard Sampson's at Texas Tech. Now, Texas Tech has more money than God. I'm not saying it's not as simple as you just say, this is the one I want, and you get him. But that's the guy they wanted, and they didn't get him at left tackle. At quarterback, they wanted Miller Moss, and he went to Louisville, and they wanted Fernando Mendoza, and he went to Indiana. Again, you don't just get to pick them. They have to want to come here. But there were those are a couple spots where they missed on what they wanted, and it has come back to bite them. So I don't know if I can give a percentage. All of those things deserve blame. Does the offensive coordinator deserve more than the players? I don't know. I mean, I know you guys think so, and that's fine. And like I told the last person, I completely understand why you're mad and frustrated. I totally get it. My job here is to try to bring a little bit more level-headedness than the emotional, we have to fire this. You're fans. I get it. That's what fans do. And we laugh about it, but you guys will laugh about it too. It's fine. My job needs to be more than, we'll fire this guy. His offense didn't score enough points. Why? We need to figure out why. And some of those things are his fault. Yes. If the Auburn, or I'm sorry, if the Texas A&M defensive players are standing at the line of scrimmage calling out plays, yes, that is a problem. That is a coaching problem. That is an issue. There is no question about that. So there are coaching issues involved here. You shouldn't look that bad with 2 weeks to prepare, especially against a defense that is fine. It's not elite. I mean, 40 yards on your first play from scrimmage. That is not an elite defense. It's a good defense. It's a defense that is good enough to get to a playoff and win a national title because it has a very good offense supporting it. I think Missouri's defense is better. Defense can't win games all by itself. A&M has help. Missouri has no help. Carpe Donnelly, if the team is 6-6, cleaning house becomes mandatory. What do you mean by cleaning house? You're firing drink at 6-6? Because that's not going to happen. You're cutting players. I don't know what cleaning house means exactly. And again, there has to be some context to 6-6. You got a true freshman quarterback. You can't kick field goals. You're playing in the SEC. I mean, somebody asked Drinkwitz in the press conference. I promise this was a real question. You're 0-6 against ranked teams. What's so difficult about playing those teams? They're damn good. They're good teams. A&M's a good team. They're better than you. Alabama's a good team. They're better than you. Vandy, that one again hurts. Oklahoma right now is better than you. They just are. Mississippi State and Arkansas are maybe closer than we would like. If they finish 6-6, we'll deal with it then. But again, there will still be reasons for that. Drinkwitz isn't getting fired. Corey Batoon clearly isn't getting fired. He's done a hell of a job. You want to fire Kirby Moore and Eric Link at 6-6? I don't care. Fire Eric Link at 8-4 if you want. I don't care. Special teams a problem. Again, as of right now, I don't expect Kirby Moore to get fired. Maybe that changes, depending on what we see in the last 3 weeks. But as of right now, I don't expect it. But have you ever agreed the staff needs a change? Look, I've told you guys 100 times, I'm never going to say fire somebody. I got to cover these dudes every day. Like, I wouldn't argue if they made a change at special teams. I wouldn't argue if they made a change at offensive coordinator. Like, I'm not passionately defending Kirby Moore that he has to be here. You want to fire him, fire him. I just don't know that fixes everything is all I'm saying. Okay. Momentum was killed after the fake punt, and our linebacker not corralling that potential pick six. I don't even remember the pick six, but I'll trust you on it. Some things kind of run together. Ed Meyer said he had a good voicemail, but RIP. We'll finish up the last few. Ron Davis got a voicemail in that's a little different than fire everybody. All right, so appreciate the heads up on those. We'll bounce back. I don't know. We don't have all the voicemails maybe loaded. We grabbed about 30 some of them before the show, but I got about 6 left here that we'll run through.
What is Drink's superpower? Originally, we thought he was some really bright offensive mind, and I feel like at this point, his superpower is recruiting and being a salesman for the program, which, sure, works great until you go up against somebody like Elko, who has just as much talent and actually has a superpower of knowing and executing scheme. And give credit to Colin.
Yeah, I think Mike Elko is an excellent coach. Drink's best attribute, I think, is that PR is that GM role of getting the donors, getting his superpowers that he has gotten everybody around Missouri football to like pull in the same direction, which has never really happened before. That's his superpower. And I know you guys don't want to hear this tonight, but like he has the whole thing about he can't win big games. Like he has put the position in a program for them to be big games, right? He has the program at a point where only one guy's gotten it in the last 60 years, and he's not quite gotten it to where Pinkel was. So I don't want to say that, but like he's on the verge of that. I know he hasn't gotten there. Like they have climbed so far up from the base of the mountain, and those last few steps are tough, man. They're tough to make. And I completely understand the frustration of going, well, Indiana made them. Texas A&M made them. Texas Tech made them. Why can't we make them? I get it, guys. I don't think it's some institutional thing. I don't think Eli Drinkwitz is incapable of it. I think you played poorly on the wrong day. And I don't think it's today that's keeping Missouri out of the playoff. Like the South Carolina game last year wasn't what kept them out of the playoff. What kept them out of the playoff was getting blown out by A&M and Alabama. The one that's keeping them out of that conversation this year is Vanderbilt. It just is. They were never winning today. There was never a point after the Zollers fumble where that was realistic. The Vanderbilt one is the one that sticks with you. That if they somehow find a way to go 9-3, that one will hurt even worse. So yeah, that's where I'm at there.
This one's on me. I really thought we could win this game, but in hindsight, that was crazy. Third string freshman quarterback. Don't know why I expected him to do better than he did, but I thought the defense did great. They get an A. Nothing. They got put in terrible spots by the special teams and the offense time and time again. So ultimately, this was never a playoff team. It just wasn't. And it's time to move on and beat Mississippi State.
Pretty much sums it up.
Gabe, I've never been so ashamed to be a Missouri Tigers fan. Matt Zollers, he just doesn't have it. I'm Tiger Terry, and I say that Mizzou stinks. Blah, blah, blah.
That was not one of our best voicemails.
Controversial. Gabe, this is Dave Winters, and I'm here to say that the University of Missouri should dissolve its football program and focus its efforts on biological sciences research, okay? That's something that could actually make a difference for this university. Right now, this football team, they're all Sarans in the SEC. But could we cure cancer? Nobody knows, man, until we devote some resources into it. It's a waste of time to be giving this money to Eli Drinkwitz. He could probably barely read Go Dog Go, okay?
Dave Winter's friends thought he was a lot funnier than I did. I think they probably already also have drank a lot more than I have.
Hey, Gabe, it's Ian, Mizzou student. So income's broke as hell. 2006 Lexus IS 250. My main thing is the offense looked inept. Offensive line couldn't block at all. But oh my gosh, we have got to have the worst special teams unit in the entire nation. I mean, punters just consistently hitting 35-yard punts. That was the worst field goal attempt I've ever seen in my life. We looked absolutely clueless on the fake punt. Damn, it's just ridiculous, Gabe. Lights are too bright for Matt Zollers right now, understandably. But need to find a way to keep number one Donovan Alubade on the team. He's a star. Thanks, Gabe.
Here's what I didn't expect, guys. The voicemails have gotten more sane as we've gone along.
Bring back Barry Odom. Bring back Barry Odom.
Terrible message, but I like the idea of the infant chiming in there at the end. That feels like an excellent place to be. Tywin 20 with another super chat. Do you know how NIL is allocated between skill positions and offensive line? Look, I don't know specifically what guys are being paid. Quarterback clearly it's number one. Offensive line, pass rusher, I think probably number two. But I don't know specifically, and I don't really think there's a way to find out unless people just decide they want to tell me. So we'll have plenty of time to talk about this, but they're gonna have to go. I think you need a receiver in the portal. You're probably gonna have to get a quarterback, maybe not a starter, but probably a quarterback in the portal. I think you got to really hammer offensive line in the portal, defensive tackle. You're hurting there. Cornerback, this team loses a lot. And this is kind of what I'm going to write about is they had half a team that was capable of doing things that have never been done here. This was a championship level defense. Still is, but was because I'm now speaking of this season slightly in the past tense because there are things that were on the table that are no longer on the table. They had half of it. They didn't have the other half. And it's what sunk them and what ended those hopes and have you guys feeling the way you're feeling tonight. So it felt a little like a funeral after Vandy. This is the wake. This is that body ain't getting back up, guys. And as I said in my immediate reaction, if the difference between the Birmingham Bowl and the Tax Slayer Bowl is important to you and 8-4 or 9-3 matters more than 7-5 and 6-6, that's great. We're going to cover the games and we're going to follow the team and all that. We're not going to quit that. But the thing that everybody starts out the season chasing, Missouri's not in that race anymore. That race ended officially today. It probably realistically ended sooner, but it officially ended today. And so there is an adjustment period of how we approach the rest of the season, what we think about it, how we analyze it. I don't think there's going to be any in-season firings, but the attention very quickly turns to the coaching carousel, and that includes Eli Drinkwitz, but it also does include what happens with Kirby Moore, what happens with Eric Link, what position coaches do. The likelihood is this staff will not be back fully intact next year. It's possible, but college football dictates that's probably not the case. So it's really kind of a transition period between now and, when the portal opens to you're still on this year, but a few eyes start to go to next year. I don't know. This has developed into a therapy session for you guys and for us and for everybody who is a part of it. And I appreciate it. And one more from Tywin is if Zollers plays at a 2015 Drew Lock level the rest of the year, do you keep Bo or trust he makes a jump like Lock did? Yeah. It's a tough question because Bo has to want to stay too, right? Both of those guys are going to have started games, and you're going to run a risk of one of them says, well, I'm not fighting for the job if I come back next year. And one of them might want to leave. So it's not as simple as, do you keep him? He has to want to stay too. If I had to guess as of today, I would say that's probably unlikely. I think he's probably going to go somewhere else. And Matt Zollers is the guy. Now, I think what he looks like the next 4 games really, because you got a bowl game and you get those 15 practices in, determines what level of guy you're bringing in. Are you bringing in a guy to compete with him and maybe win the job, or are you bringing in a guy to back him up? Because if you bring in a guy to compete with him, well, is he going to stick around? It's tough to handle. And those are things we'll obviously talk about down the road. But again, this kind of it's a therapy session, and I appreciate everybody being here. We're not always going to agree, but we don't have to. We bat around some ideas. You're probably right about some. I'm probably right about some, and we're both probably wrong about some too. Cody's always right. That's why we let him go early, so he can get the always right coverage to you guys over at Power Mizzou. I don't think we solved anything, but playoff hopes went till November 8th, and now they're dead, and we'll move along and see what the rest of the year holds. Appreciate all you guys being here. We were up hovering 450, 500 most of the night. Tough one. So given the way it went, I appreciate everybody that did hang out here with us for 90 minutes, and appreciate you guys being a part of this all year long. And we're still going to do it. This thing's not over. We're still going to be here next week at 11 o'clock after the Mississippi State game, and the week after that against Oklahoma, and the week after that against Arkansas. Still, because I've made that promise to Yuengling, and they made the promise to us. They've supported this all year long. Preview post-game shows brought to you by Yuengling. That is America's oldest brewery. We're here an hour and a half. I hope that gave you time to power through 3 or 4. I hope you've got a few left. If not, send a driver, or can you DoorDash alcohol? I don't know. Maybe do that. It's still early. LSU Bama's at halftime. You got other games to watch. Cody and I have stories to write. Get yourself some Yuengling. As always, enjoy it responsibly. Support the sponsors. Like, comment, share, and subscribe while you're here. All kinds of coverage coming up over on the site. So please check it out there. Get your frustrations out. We'll have full coverage all night long, and the follow-up tomorrow morning. Appreciate all you guys being here. We'll talk to you next time.